Hello everyone, welcome to this next session on Anubhav Learning Series. Many of you have given a great feedback about my learning series on my YouTube channel as well as on my website onlinefiorytrainings.com. As part of this learning series video, we will discuss about SAP Fiori Elements with annotation file in SAP Web IDE. Many times in your company you might have wondered about smart filter Fiori applications. Especially those who are working in SAP S/4HANA projects, you might have seen there are different varieties of applications which look alike standard Fiori applications, but yet built by your team. Also, you might see some analytical applications like an overview page application. How these applications are created. We will discuss about how do they look like, what are all the different components of these applications, what are all the techniques to create this application, and all of that will be on our demo scenario. Majority of the demos which you see, they all give you an overview, but in this session we will go deep dive and have a look at how to create the variety of Fiori elements in SAP Web IDE full stack. As you all know, by 31st December 2018, the support for Web IDE is ending and every company, including the developers, are moving to SAP Web IDE full stack. So we'll be having a discussion around Web IDE full stack to create such a Fiori element application. So we'll be talking here about two Fiori elements. First one will be the smart filter Fiori app, and second one will be an overview page analytical application. Before we move on, let's talk about the motivation of having analytical application or smart filter Fiori application. A smart filter Fiori application or Fiori element applications actually gift for all the people who have no clue about JavaScript and no clue about developing freestyle Fiori apps. So there are majorly in the companies, you would see there are a lot of people around you who are building Fiori applications, and you as an ABAP developer finding it so difficult to match up to the expectations. There are classical reports. So what are all the typical example of applications which are expected from a developer in a typical ERP project or SAP implementation project? The first type of application is you expect to create reports. These reports gives exactly an insight of the data, looking at the line item data, looking at the master data, transactional data, and gives an insight of the data, a detailed insight of the data to the end user. You might have done in a classical ERP system, ECC system might have done interactive report or classical report or an ALV report. That's what exactly the reporting requirement. The second set of applications are more towards an overview on high level, which gives a kind of decision-making capability to your end user. For example, I want to know at what speed in my company products are sold. Which are all the top selling products in my company? And which company is probably the most important customer for myself? All these things are possible by looking at a high level overview, and this is done by aggregating the data. It's done by aggregation. Aggregation means I want to do sum, minimum, maximum, average. All these are aggregations which you apply on the data. For example, I want to know in last quarter how many shoes my apparel store have sold, how many t-shirts my apparel store have sold. Then further drilling it down, I want to know within the t-shirt category which brand t-shirts were sold the most in my store. So all this is done with the help of aggregation. So that's exactly the motivation of creating also the Fiori apps. Now, as you already know, with this new advanced technology introduction, we are moving more towards responsive web applications. The applications which are capable of running on mobile, tablet, and desktop on all the devices. And that's only possible with SAP UI5 and Fiori technology. That is the reason there is a paradigm shift. Typical web intro developers, BSP developers, and SAP GUI dialog programming developers are finding it so difficult to be relevant for the company anymore. Companies are expecting you to design new variety of applications which are Fiori experience based, which can run on any device, anytime and anywhere. This is what is the expectation from majority of the companies. And you as an web developer, it's so difficult for you to gaze what's going on around you. People who are experts, they are so busy, they're not able to help you. And that is the reason I have courses on my website which will help you to patch up to the needs of today's market demand. If you're not subscribed to the courses yet, you can always go back to my website, onlinefiorytrainings.com, and subscribe to these courses as fast as possible so that you can match up to the expectations. If you're already my student, you already know that I have a novel learning series on my website where you can go and get free learnings on advanced topics like this one. So you're already comfortable with UI5 Fiori, ABAP on HANA, and CDS views. This video is for you. Still, if you're a beginner, you can watch this video to get some hands-on on creating these Fiori apps. This is my learning series, and this is a continuation of this learning series video. Let us go back and look at here the example, what we want to achieve. So we want to create sales report. So now what is the practical need here? The first requirement here is we need to create a drill down report of my sales data in the company with variety of filter options to end user. To fit to this requirement, the finest fit which comes into the picture is to go ahead with something called a smart filter Fiori app. What is a smart filter Fiori app? How does it look like? Let's quickly go back and look at a smart filter Fiori app screenshot on the Google. So let me search for smart filter Fiori app. Just a quick disclaimer, guys. We don't need to have any Fiori programming knowledge required to be able to build these applications. So let me go to the smart filter Fiori app, and you would see this is an example of a smart filter Fiori app. Let me copy this image and paste it over here to explain you better. This is a typical example of a smart filter Fiori app. You might have seen these kind of apps in your company. This is what exactly a smart filter Fiori application is. Okay. What are the different components of this app? There are majorly three important components of this app. The first component is a smart filter bar. You can see this is called smart filter bar. The second component is the header area. Actually, this one is your header area, and it includes a smart filter bar. Then we have a overview area for the items which we have, and then we have a smart filter table. This is the third section of your Fiori application. These are the three important sections of a smart filter Fiori app. The beauty of this Fiori app is that there is zero Fiori coding required, zero knowledge of JavaScript, zero knowledge of Fiori to be able to create this application. You just need to be aware of the tools and this session which I'm going through to be able to explain you. But there is nothing like free lunch. You should have a good idea about CDS views. CDS view stands for Core Data Services. There are two varieties of CDS concepts. One is in ABAP and one is in HANA. If you subscribe my ABAP on HANA course, you would get a complete idea about CDS views. In this particular session, I'm not discussing about the CDS view. The necessary CDS view I have already pre-built. But the beauty is I am sharing the code for that CDS view in the video. So you can look at the video description here, or also you can go to my Anubhav learning series, and there you can find the complete source code of the CDS which is required to run this example. You can copy paste that CDS in your environment, your company, and then you are ready to build this application which I'm showcasing here. You will also think, Anubhav, my company is not on SAP S/4HANA. Will I be able to practice this? Yes, you can, because I am using a demo scenario, and these demo tables do exist in all your company systems, provided you are on NetWeaver 7.4 and above. It's called EPM data model. That's all covered in my SAP S/4HANA and S/4HANA technical course. Please subscribe to this course to get a detailed overview about CDS views, EMDP, SQL scripting, SAP HANA, modeling, new ABAP syntax, EPM data model, OIA scenario, and lot more other stuff. If you don't want to subscribe for the course, still you will be able to practice this example which I'm showing here. Look at the description of this video. You will find the link for the CDS views required to be able to develop this demo scenario. Now the question comes, where do you develop your CDS view? You do it using ABAP development tools in Eclipse. This is an ABAP development tool in Eclipse which allows you to do ABAP development via Eclipse. This is the only place where currently you can create CDS views other than ABAP on cloud. So here we have something called a sample example build. As I mentioned, we are using something called a sample scenario. The sample scenario is using something called enterprise procurement model. It's called PM. So this sample scenario is based on enterprise procurement model, EPM model, which is available in every SAP NetWeaver system 7.4 and above. You can use these sample database tables, sample BAPIs, and you can use T code as SEPM underscore DG to generate the sample data also for the sample scenarios. That is the first step, guys, which is a prerequisite to be able to execute the scenario in your company. Once you download my source code, which I'm going to share with you, what you need to do is the very first thing you got to do and download my source code and go to your SAP system and check if you have transaction code SEPMDG available or not. You can go to the transaction code in your ECC system or in your S4HANA system. Here we have an S4HANA 1809 system. I go to the transaction code. Oops, I got checkout. I just have to re-log in quickly. And I just go to EPM. Let's go to this tree code will be there in your company. Just have to say recreate, and it will generate some sample data in the database tables. Again, I repeat, these are all sample tables so that there is no productive use of these tables. Hence, you can go ahead and generate this in any environment. It will not affect your productive sales order or material data in your company. This is a prerequisite to get started with any development, any demo scenario in your company. Detail about this EPM model is explained in my ABAP on HANA course. This video is again just an introduction. Hence, complete details will not be covered here. That's a prerequisite, guys. You can go ahead and do that. Once this is done, you can now use my CDS views. I will be sharing a Notepad file with all of you, which has all these CDS views which I've created already in the system for you. The CDS views includes product CDS views, business partner CDS views, sales order header data, and sales order line item data. The final CDS view, which is so-called a consumption CDS view in S4HANA, is what we are using here. I've created one with the name called sales order Abajo. I execute the CDS view, and now you can see it displays me some sales order data, displays me all the line item information, the products which customer has purchased, what is the gross amount of the sales, net amount, overall status for the sales order status, criticality of the sales, the business partner who bought the sales order, company name. All this information is available over here. Yeah. All this information is available over here. This is a preview of the data. You guys, we need data to get started somewhere, right? Need sample data. This is a sample data which is more and more close to the standard sales order or purchase order scenario which you would like to do it in your company. This is, once again, I repeat, it's a demo data. It's a demo tables built on completely demo scenario. We are using EPM data model. Now, once the CDS views are built, we are ready. The important thing is we need to just remember that CDS view name is our consumption CDS. That's our consumption CDS view name. Okay. What is consumption CDS views? What is CDS views? Please subscribe to my App on HANA course to get a detailed hands-on on the same. You will become a full stack developer if you subscribe to my courses. Now, once this is built, we are ready. On top of the CDS view, an OData service is also been created. You can see it here. We have an annotation in CDS called OData Publish, which exposes this CDS view as an OData service. I have already registered this OData service in my NetWeaver Gateway front-end system, and I can go to the outline view here to look at this OData service definition. So go to outline view, look at your CDS. You have your secondary object, and you see OData exposure. You can right-click here and say Open. It will launch the OData service into the browser. And I can choose my entity set, and we can just go ahead and paste this $$ format is JSON. Those who have no clue about OData service, please look at my channel. I have an introduction video already posted for you regarding OData services. So let me show you quickly my YouTube channel. You can always go to my YouTube channel and get a hands-on on basics of OData service. So just go to YouTube. And here you have lots of free videos offered by myself on S4HANA, Abajo on HANA, UI5, Fiori, Gateway, and stuff like that. So just come here on the top and search for OData Introduction, and you would find SAP Gateway Architecture Data Service for Fiori App. Please watch this video, an introductory video which will give you a good overview of how OData works, the basics of OData, guys. You can watch this video and get a hands-on on that. Now let's move on. So once this is done, you can see this is some data which it is exposing from my S4HANA system in form of an OData service. Since there is huge amount of data, it's taking a lot of time. Yeah, I just keep this aside, and that's my OData service name. The generated OData service name typically includes the CDS view name underscore CDS. So let me note down also my OData service name. That's our OData service. You can also look at this scenario directly in my system. You can send me an email and I will give you an access to this OData server, this S4HANA server, and then you will get an access to the system. From your local computer, you can access to ADT. You can also access to your SAP system from local SAP GUI. And you can also run all the OData services locally in your current browser. You can also create a connection, secure connection with your SAP Cloud Platform with this SAP S4HANA system. So in this example, our backend is going to be our S4HANA system, which is on 1809 on-premise. And now our connection will be happening with SAP Cloud Platform. So we have our SAP Cloud Platform account, trial account. And from this SAP Cloud Platform, I have already modeled a destination which is connecting to the system. And the good news is no cloud connector required, because my current S4HANA 1809 cloud system, it's actually an internet facing system. So there is zero connection, zero HANA cloud connector requirement for this. You can directly connect to it. That's the beauty of this server. So we have our SAP Cloud Platform, and here we have our development tool for Fiori called SAP Web IDE. And a successor of that is SAP Web IDE Full Stack. If you have no clue about what is SAP Web IDE is, please watch my YouTube video on introduction of SAP Web IDE. And if you have no clue about Web IDE Full Stack, please watch also a video on YouTube about Web IDE Full Stack. All these two videos are also there on my YouTube channel. My YouTube channel is going to be helpful for you throughout all your learning. So just search for, you can also go to this Fiori trainings playlist. It comes always on the top on YouTube. And here you will find the video about Web ID full stack. So just scroll down a little bit and you'll find a Web ID full stack video also here. You can see this is SAP Web ID full stack. Introduction of Web ID full stack already given free of cost to you on the YouTube. There's a lot of learning which you can do on YouTube with my channel. Please subscribe to my channel on YouTube if you want these amazing videos to be published on your email automatically once I upload them. Coming back, so we will be using these tools. So we have ADT to create our web development tools on Eclipse, ADT to create our CDS views on Eclipse, to connect to our S4 system and create the CDS views. We have already done that as a prerequisite. I will already share the code with you. And then we have also set up of SCP account with a destination connecting to our S4 system. Yeah, this is what the current setup we have. If you have an on-premise system, then you would also need something called SAP HANA Cloud Connector to be able to connect to this cloud system. Then we're using SAP Web ID Full Stack and Web IDE to be able to create this. So let's move on to back to our requirement, where we want to now create a deal round report for my sales data, which is exposed via this OData service and CDS view, and create this kind of application without any more coding. Yes, guys, you're right. No coding required to create this app. Now you must be wondering how it can be done. There are two ways, guys, to achieve this kind of applications. The first technique which you can use is annotation with CDS views. So this is something, there are two options, again I say, to create this smart Fiori element type of application. One is using annotations with CDS views. Another is without annotation, but with annotation file in SAP Web IDE using annotation modeler. If you ask me which option is best, with my experience, I would say go with option number one, because in that case, the code to generate the UI remains in your ABAP system. It follows the same life cycle as your CDS view, and it always remains very close to your data model, which is actually a good technique tomorrow in case if you remove some properties, add new properties, you can quickly change your metadata extensions accordingly. If you have no clue about how to create this option, you can watch my video again on YouTube about CDS BOPF integration, where I've actually created a smart filter app using CDS BOPF integration, complete end-to-end transactional application we have built here using CDS BOPF integration with annotation. So here I've created CDS views, also relevant for the demo scenario, and then also I have created a smart filter Fiori app at the end using CDS annotation. So please watch this video if you're interested to know option number one. Today we will talk about option number two because this was the most asked topic on my YouTube channel and on my email box by my ex-students. So we will look at the option number two. So right now I'm keeping this aside and talking about option number two, where we will be using Web IDE to create annotation file manually and then generate the necessary application for our requirement. Okay. Now, for this to achieve, we need to talk about here annotations. So annotation is nothing but it's actually the metadata for Fiori Elements. So what is an annotation? Simple words, you can see these are metadata for Fiori element, which tells the Fiori what UI elements we want on screen, what filters we want, what columns we want, all these things we want, what selections you want, all these things you can tell via this metadata, so-called annotation. So we'll be using a couple of annotations. What will be your header information? So majorly to create this particular application related to Fiori Smart Filter, we are using three top annotations. The first annotation which we use is add rate UI header info annotation. The second annotation here we will use add the rate UI. If I'm telling about option number one in CDS view, you will be using them. Similar to that, these annotation will be using in annotation modeler in Web IDE. I'll show you in a minute. I go to UI, and this one for filters, for all the top level filter selection screens, you will use selection fields annotation to configure your selection fields. And for creating the line items, the table columns, you will be using line item annotation. A line item includes multiple columns, which is represented using data field annotation. Again, annotation, sub annotations. Selection fields, we will use item annotation inside selection fields. That's all you need to know to be able to get started. So easy. Just three things you need to know to get started creating this smart filter app. As a prerequisite, your CDS view is also ready along with OData service. We just have to go back now to Web IDE. So let's go to our SAP Cloud Platform account. I'm switching to my SAP Cloud Platform cockpit. So just go to SAP New Trial. Click on OK. And now here in the services, we have SAP Web IDE Full Stack Service, which we will be using to be able to develop our app. Just a quick information prerequisite, guys. If you're using your own SAP Cloud Platform account, you must need a connection to the server, which is created under destination over here. If you want to know how to create destination, please look at my YouTube video about Web IDE Personal Edition, where I've shown how to create destination to connect to the backend system. You can always do that. Coming back, so this is again a prerequisite. Let me put it in the PPT so that we don't miss it out by any chance. Step by step, line by line. So now just go back. Where is prerequisites? So here we have. And the second thing is create a trial account. You may have already a productive account by your company on SAP Cloud Platform with destination to your backend system. The front-end system to be very precise. So for your gateway. Also, optionally, if your system is an OP system with no internet facing capability, you need HANA Cloud Connector. How to create setup HANA Cloud Connector is also covered in my one of YouTube video. So go back once again. I'm so sorry, guys. There are too many things, and for everything, I have a YouTube video for you. If you want to learn these things in detail, please subscribe to my trainings on UI5 Fiori development, on Web IDE full stack and advanced Fiori development, as well as a web on HANA training. You will become an expert on all these things. Yeah, if you subscribe to the trainings. On YouTube, I just have sample small demo videos for solving your temporary issues. Okay, it's not a full-fledged training on YouTube for everything. Full-fledged training is there available through my website. So come here, you would find something called integrating your SAP Cal account. Just check that video. So here it is. This is where I have explained in this video how to configure your Cal with CDS table function, HANA Cloud integration with Cal. So that's something I've explained here, how to create cloud connector and expose your order service onto the cloud using SAP Cloud Connector, which is for on-premise system to HANA Cloud Platform. So that's something which is again covered in that video. So you can see all those videos are actually make your prerequisite ready. And now we are ready to go ahead to our SAP Web IDE full stack. So let me just close my Launchpad and Designer. And I just go to services. And here search for services Web IDE full stack. There you go. Make sure that service is enabled in your cloud platform. This is actually your development, Fiori development as a service. So you can develop Fiori apps using this service called Web IDE. Let's go and launch this service. And since we have all our prerequisites met, our connection is also ready. We can right away get started with developing our smart filter Fiori app, displaying this line item information, which you see here in your SAP system. The data coming from SAP system will now be displayed with the Fiori UX. And all of that without any coding. Yes, without any coding. Zero ABAP coding required, guys. Zero ABAP coding. So let me close everything, what we have. It's a fresh one. You can also switch to another workspace. That's an amazing feature which WebID Full Stack offers. You can switch to multiple workspaces. So I can switch to another workspace altogether. So maybe I just open another workspace and go new. So that's my another workspace. You can see I can always go to another workspace. And now I can also start building my new apps here. So that's a multiple workspace feature which WebID Full Stack offers. Okay, coming back. Now let's create a new project. So I can right click here and say new, and I say project from template. And now we will choose in the featured category SAP Fiori Elements. Some of you may not be able to see these Fiori Elements in the drop down. What you got to do is you need to enable a feature in Web IDE. How do you do that? Come to this settings button and now go to features. And now here search for Fiori Elements. There you go. No, just check that. You have to choose overview page and analytics page on. This is actually for our next example. I think Fiori element will come by default. We got to also make sure that you select this work list application checked on and this one on. These two options must be checked on to be able to see and create your apps, which we will be demonstrating now. Going back, let's create one more time, new project from template. And now I can choose Fiori elements. And now here we will choose application as list report application. Now, if you have your company asking you to convert a transactional report, which you had earlier, and you want it to be in a new paradigm, new programming paradigm with S/4HANA, you can definitely use this option and convert that report with a smart filter Fiori application using CDS views. The performance of that will be amazing and user experience is also amazing with that. Click on next, give some project name. I can say is Anubhav Fiori element FE underscore my lease report, or I can say sales report. And now I can give a title, sales report drill down. And I can say namespace onlinefioritrainings.com dot I say list. Dot list, that's my namespace. And I can say http www.onlinefioritrainings.com. Go next. And now here we will choose our data source. You see already I've created the destination. That's the reason it's showing me here. I'll just connect to my server, my S4 on-premise server, and I'll search for my OData service here. I choose my OData service generated out of my CDS view. Click on next. Don't choose the second annotation file, guys. This is an annotation file which is coming from CDS view actually, because in my CDS view, I have also kept a couple of annotations related to aggregations and semantic information. They are not relevant right now. We are not choosing this option. In my Abajo Nana course, I have showed you guys using this option to generate the complete UI without local annotation. But in this case, we are not doing so. So I click on just first one, the service metadata, that's it. Click on next. And I choose my OData collection. And that's it. We want that much. Click on finish. You would see now a Fiori application, a smart filter Fiori application, a smart list Fiori application gets created. Voila. And now I can just Quickly check this up. And now some of you may be already working with UI5 and Fiori, and you must wonder, what is this grunt file? What is this package JSON? What is this manifest component JS? So guys, all this is covered in detail in my trainings. So grunt file is actually for best practice build of Fiori application. It's actually used as a node module in WebID full stack to be able to create the necessary runtime artifacts. So you can always build your application, right click and say build option, and then you will see your app will get built in a dist folder, and that's what gets deployed finally to the backend system. That's called Fiori best practice build, which actually creates component preload JS and other stuff. Again, there is an introduction video for the same. Just search for Fiori best practice build, Fiori grunt JS on YouTube. You would see on top is a video, two videos. The second video is first video which I'm interested to listen and see how can we create the grunt JS. How can we create a grunt JS file to be able to perform the best practice build with WebID full stack. Please watch this video. You get a complete idea about component preload and other stuff. Let's come back to WebID full stack. And now here, just simply execute it right now. Okay, just execute it simply. So I'm just going to run this app. I didn't touch anything else. I just created the app from the template and I'm just executing it. Let me run in another session. Makes it easy for me to switch. And there you go. It's connecting first to the cloud platform, authenticating you, and you definitely ask your credentials now for your gateway system as well, because currently we are connecting via destination to our gateway system. So first it will give you a sandbox, Fiori sandbox. What is Fiori sandbox? It's a local launchpad. This is also covered in my Fiori advanced training. So I click on the tile now, and you would see it will soon launch our Fiori list report, analytical list report, where we can see all the line item information. But yet, since we have not created any annotations yet, system will display you an empty filter, an empty table. Okay, it won't show you any columns in the table. It won't show you any filter selection to you. Okay, just connect to the system, and now you will see it will show you an empty screen. Yeah, you see there's an empty filter, an empty table. I can actually go and now add columns from here. So I can say my currency code, let's say gross amount, let's say company name, maybe I want company, click on OK. So I got my 3 columns and say go button. You can see it will display some values to you. Yeah? But we don't want that. What we want is we want to display user. We want to display our user these pre-built columns. When the screen opens, that time only we want to see these columns. Also, we want to see some filters, some filter items. So I add filter, and I want maybe company code, currency code, and company code. 2 filters I want to be displayed to the end user when the application starts. So currently, user has this option, but not really so good. So this is the kind of screen I want to display, guys. When my application launch, I want to filter: one is currency code, one is company, the company at position number 1 and currency code at position number 2. And then I want here some item information, header info for my table, which should display me the count, number of records in the table. It should display me here something. And then at the bottom, I want this smart filter table, and this should have at least 4 columns I want at this point. So I want company name, maybe 3 columns: company name, gross amount, and currency code. Or if I don't want currency code, I want just company name, country, company, country, and gross amount. 3 things I want right now to be on my screen. Yeah. So how can we achieve this? How can we achieve this? Very easy, guys. We can create something called an annotation file in WebID full stack. So let's look at the steps to create such an annotation file in WebID full stack. So I go back to WebID full stack. And now you can see already system has created a folder and a file. I'm not interested. I delete this. So I go for edit and delete this because I want to show you everything from scratch. So I just delete that. And now once again, I come back and add a new folder. And I call this as an annotation folder. And now in this folder, we are going to create a file. But before that, let's have a look at manifest.json. I can zoom in a little bit and go to code editor. Come down. You would see this is our auditor service, and there is something called an annotations entry, which system is saying I want to load an annotation from the backend system. Since we are using CDS view with some annotation system is trying to load these annotations from the backend system, we don't want that also. I just remove this entry and let's save this. No CDS annotation in this case, or based on the annotations built on Web IDE. And now watch out guys, currently my line number 21 is empty in manifest. The moment I add an annotation file, that entry will appear here automatically. System is so smart, WebID is so smart that it is going to link your annotation file, whatever you create here automatically. That's what will happen. So let's see that. I can right click now annotations and you must choose new annotation file. Click on that. You can give any name you like. I just keep it annotation. Click on next. Yeah, that's my main service. Fine. Click on next and say finish. You will see, wow, there you go. You can see just now I told you line number 21. There is now an annotation file path has been added for you. That's what we wanted, guys. And this annotation path is pointing here. And you can see it's exactly pointing to your annotations folder in the main directory with annotation XML. So this is your main directory, which it is pointing. And in this directory, you would have your annotation.xml file. Clear everybody how WebIDE, how your project is linked to the annotation file. So sometimes in your company, when you're working with such apps, by mistake, if you've done a typo or the link is broken due to some reason or some developer has done something, the app will not appear. So you know what you need to do. You need to come to manifest.json, check here the annotation path. And for this annotation path, check the absolute path which is given for annotation XML file. If this path is correct, at least your linkage will work properly. Okay. Now I can just come back to annotations XML, and since it's an annotation file, WebID understands pretty well, and it is going to launch something called Annotation Editor. Yes, that's called Annotation Editor. This is what is the option number 2, other than what we learned in Abajo HANA course here to create now a smart filter app with annotation. So as I told you quickly, sometime back, what type of annotations we would need? We would need annotations to create our filter, our header, selection field, and line items. So let's add these 3 annotations: header info, selection fields, and line items. So let's come back, and you got to start with local annotations. Let me make it maximize. Double click here. It makes it maximize. Click on plus, and I search for header info. Check mark this. And then we want selection fields, and then we want, right now I just add these 2. Yeah, just add these 2. So in the header info annotation, I can come here and choose my type name. So my type name is something like hard-coded name. So you can always choose it from I89 file. So what is I89? It's actually used for text in a Fiori application, text translation, and you can always come and maintain some text over here. So maybe I just want to start with, let's say, header info equals to sales order item, and I can say header info plural sales items. These 2 tags I've added, and now my translator can actually pick up this file and convert it into multiple languages to support different languages in Fiori. Now coming back, and it just gets refreshed, just expand this header info, and now I can choose I89 and this nice little button here, and now you can see we should see our sales order item and sales order items. These 2 I put the type name and type plural, and let's give a title also. The title should come probably from my the sales order ID. So I just put that in the title. It's going to count how many sales orders are there, and accordingly it's going to put the title for me in the header info. Click on save, and that's about header info, and it's time to add now selection fields. what selection fields you want. So as per the requirement, there is a need for two selection field. One is company name and one is currency code. So let's click on plus button and I just choose an item. Okay, and I choose here as my first field as company code, company name. So just come and choose. It's pulling the information from your OData metadata actually, yeah, automatically. Let me also just choose plus another item, and that's going to be my currency code field over there. And I also want to give my own labels, so I can now this time plus an on item itself, and I choose my item label. I can also add tooltips if you wish to. You can add heading, whatever you like, you can do that. Click on OK, and let's give some text again. So this one is my what exactly I wanted. I want a title for my company name, so I can just give here hashtag XTIT. That's a naming convention we use. And this is all covered in my introduction of SAP UI5 and Fiori course. So please subscribe to that course to understand the concept of I-18N. And now I come here and say the company, and then say company, enter. And then XTIT. The second one comes is currency. I save this and just come and choose my. Do it properly, guys. Don't let anybody comment on your code. Yeah, do things properly in your company. People don't comment on your code that your code is bad. Yeah, may have to take some time, but we have to do things always with the best in quality delivery. Yeah? That's what majority of my training focus. We always focus on following standard and also making sure that the quality of the code which you generate is always the good, because you always have this dilemma in your mind. I'm doing coding, you're following some internet blog, output will come, but you are not sure whether that output, the way you got the output, is correct or wrong. Yeah. So this is something always you've been in a dilemma, and that dilemma is now solved with the proper extensive training. And let's come back for the items now, currency code, and just plus and add a label for this as well. And just going to choose currency code. We are done, and my header fields are created. Make sure that you save this. Typically, when you make some change, you would see a small star over there on the top of the file that indicates there are unsaved changes. So make sure you click on the save button or save all to save the changes of your file. And now we are done, guys. Let's come back and watch the magic. Earlier, when we were loading the app, we were seeing nothing in the header, nothing in the table. But now at least when I refresh, let's see what happens. System reads this annotation file, and the Fiori element is so smart that it automatically fetches the information, and then it is accordingly going to do the stuff. So there you go. You can see the company code, the company selection field is coming up over here. And right now you see this header info also, sales order items with the count of sales order which are getting displayed. Yeah. So now let me just click on go button. And right now there's no columns. So of course we got to just add quickly a column. We'll just add a couple of columns. So you see it's displaying some data, but I want these columns also to be by default coming up. Yeah, this is what I also want. I want these columns to come by default. So how can we do that as well? So let's do that. So, but oops, I see my company name is there, but where's my another field called currency code? It's not coming up, right? So it should come. Let's just check that currency code. Just have to make sure the path is correct. And you see there's a nice star here, which indicates there are unsaved changes. Please save this. And let's come back and refresh the page. You will also see the currency code field on the header. So to be very careful while choosing your fields for the items. And now you see both of my fields. So that's the beauty of Fiori Element. Zero coding, guys. With annotation, the Fiori Element reads the annotation and they build accordingly. Let's go ahead now with line item annotation. Right now, you see there are no columns in our table. we're going to get the columns now. So how do we do that? Let's collapse them. And now we're going to go with new one, which is line item annotation. And now with this line item annotation, I want to just add 4 columns. So I say 4 data fields, maybe 3 data fields, or 4 data fields. I want company code, gross amount, and status. Always choose plus at the line item level. 4 data fields I've added. So first data field I will add as a company code. Company name. The second field I am adding it as a gross amount. And you choosing this one, gross amount, which is at the coming from the header. And then I'm using another field as currency code, or maybe I want to use the currency code. And I'll also use here the status of the sales order status. Yeah. So these are all the fields I have chosen, guys. And now we are done. That's it, guys. Click on save. You can also change the order of the field. Suppose I want my currency code or order status before the currency code. You can do that. Just select the field. And now you can see this up button and down button. You can move the fields and their order up and down. Yeah, that's completely possible. Now you see there are unsaved changes. I just save all. And now magic happens here on the UI. You would see 4 columns will be added as part of your smart table when you run your application once again with updated annotation file. Voila! Can you see, guys? There are 4 columns. The first column, company, gross amount, currency, and order status. 4 columns have been added already to your table. And now when I click on go button, you would see the data popping up for all these. Superb. That's what we wanted, guys. What an amazing example. This is exactly a list report. And guys, the beauty of this app, it automatically does the paging. Imagine in your typical ERP system when you used to write report, and if there are 20 billion records, your report will never work. Yeah, your report will never load because there are 20 billion record it has to fetch. But now in this case, what is happening? It is doing paging. It doesn't load all 20 billion in one shot, just like YouTube. What YouTube does when you play a YouTube video, YouTube starts buffering. It doesn't allow you to wait for the entire video to get buffered, right? YouTube doesn't do that. YouTube say, hey, you can start playing the video by the time I'll parallelly buffer. That's exactly called paging concept here. In YouTube, it's called streaming concept. And here it is called paging concept. In this, it doesn't wait for all billion records to get loaded. It loads data chunk by chunk. Just to quickly show you, that's again covered in detail in my course, what is paging and how to implement that. And now you see when I scroll down, a call is going to make automatically to the backend system to fetch the next set of records. That's called paging concept, and system does it beautifully for you. It's loading the set of records automatically, as in when user is scrolling, system is loading the chunk by chunk data automatically. That's called paging concept. Again, details are covered in my UI5 and Fiori training. This is just a demo video to give you an idea what kind of capabilities this new technology is giving us. I want to do a filter. So maybe I want to see all the orders for Aventla. And click on go button. And there you can see there are 36 records for this particular customer with 36 orders in different currencies. You can see currencies here. It's showing up. The beauty of this report, it adapts itself automatically. Yeah. If you don't put the currency code column, system adapts it automatically. Watch out. Come back. And for time being, I will just remove this column. And I save my file. And now I refresh. Watch out what happens. Now, since there is no currency code column, system cannot display the currency code to us. System is going to create a link, and in that link we are going to display the data for the currency. So now you see, since there are different currencies in which orders are placed, you can see the company name comes at front of that show details. The link comes up, and in that you see all the order subtotals in different currencies. That system does automatically. It's so smart that it knows there are data in different currencies, so it got to convert it to a link. Yeah. That's something which system does automatically. Now coming back, you have not written any ABAP coding anymore. You can also just go and search for all the euros, new orders in euros. It's going to search you all the orders in clean euro currency. It's going to get you all the data for euro orders. So now if you go inside, you see, oops, it's not working. There's something wrong. I think I'm not used the correct filter. So let's do no amount. I think it's getting all the amounts which has at least one item with euros, because it's getting you the records, the header records which has euro, but the item record also may have different currencies, because at the header level it's currency converted amount. So it's only getting you the items for which the header has the euro as a currency. Okay. So now what else we can do? There's a lot you can do, lots of annotation. This is just an introduction, so I'll not go deep, but yet you can always check the documentation on SAP UI5 SDK, these applications and annotations. So if you go to SAP UI5 SDK, go to the documentation and search here for annotations. You always find annotations working with UI. Complete details about all the annotations, their purpose, what do they do, vocabulary based annotations, vocabularies, standard UI5 vocabularies, OData vocabularies. So all these details, you can always see annotations for overview page, which we're going to build it in a minute. You can see header info, data field, all these annotation details you can always find out in UI5 SDK. But right now we are not looking at documentation at this point. So you can see all these is mentioned, well mentioned here about the documentation. You can actually do a lot of validations and stuff like that. I want to show you another interesting feature. That feature is about now adding something called an order status. So you see right now it's just displaying order status as a usual order status. I want it to display with an icon. Yeah. So what I do is I just go back to my CDS and make a small modification to my CDS. I go to my composite view, and here I say if the order is paid, the status should be criticality 3, and it is delivered, maybe paid, then criticality is 2, delivered is criticality 3. If it is not delivered, it is new. Make sure the criticality is high, 1, and that should come in the red color. So that's my criticality calculation code in my CDS view, which I've added, and that's coming as a criticality column to the output. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back and to my Web IDE, and here for my order status column, I'm going to add another criticality calculation. So click on plus and just choose criticality. Click on OK. And now here you choose that the data for criticality is going to come from my OData. So choose path. And now I choose here my criticality data, which is coming from OData service to do criticality calculation. And click on save. And let's come back and refresh. That's a small change which I made to my CDS view for criticality calculation. And now you would see that system is going to call that up. And let's see. It is going to load the data up for us. Click on go. It is still not showcasing what we expected to see. Okay, maybe I have to just refresh my cache. So press F12, right click and empty cache and hard reload. So ideally it should pick up the criticality calculation, and it should automatically show us the criticality for this. Let's see. I'll just refresh the cache to load the latest annotation file. So that's how you can add a criticality calculation for any column which you want it to be in a different color and different criticality. So let's see if it works. It takes a little bit of time. In the meantime, so first requirement is fulfilled. It is addressed. Now you also have annotations to control the width, height, everything you can control, guys. So you got to always go and check that. What is that you can use to control the data field width, data field height? There are lots of annotation. Yeah. So you can have lots of annotation to control the width, height, navigation. You can also configure the navigation. If user click on arrow button, what should happen? Yeah, all these things we can actually decide, yeah, for a given column or given row of the smart table. So I'm not going so much in deep right now. So now I come back. It's still not doing criticality calculation. Ideally, it should have done it for my order status. Let me just check. Why it's not doing that? So not sure. I have to check that. Ideally, it should have done the criticality calculation for my order. Maybe it's some cache issue. That's why it's not working. But it will actually work, guys. Okay. Now coming to the next requirement, where we want to create now an overview page, which is more like an analytical application. So here it's a drill down report where user can see for which company what order was placed, what is the information, what is the line items. So that's something which we can see. It's a drill down, yeah, it's a report. But what about if my CEO wants to know uh, what are all the top recent sales orders which were sold in my company, or what was the overall sales per customer? Yeah. What is that my customer has bought from me overall? So I want to see that information. How can we achieve that? That's something we got to create something called an overview page. Again, the same CDS can be used for that purpose with an annotation file. So this time I'm going to use the typical web IDE rather than web IDE full stack. So let me go back to web IDE itself. So I'm going to search for web IDE, and this is my own web IDE because I was just checking it yesterday evening and it was working with web IDE but not with web IDE full stack. Full stack was having some issue with OBP. That's why I'm now switching back to the web IDE to showcase the same. Yeah. So let's go back to web IDE. And now it's taking a little bit of time. In the meantime, let me take a question from here. So Deep is saying when we use @UI line item in CDS view, we just put that field and don't have to put UI data field. By this difference? Okay, Deep, when we use @UI line item in the CDS view, the CDS view is then supplies the metadata for rendering the UI. At that time, this annotation file is not required. That's why I told you when we started the session, there are two options to create. These are two different options. It's your convenience, your expertise, which decides which option you want to go with. If you are going to put an annotation in CDS view with UI line item, which I didn't do right now, you see, I didn't do it here. In that case, you don't need an annotation file. But if you're not doing that, then you need an annotation file in Web IDE to tell the UI how the UI should be displayed. So this is either or this, either or this. Yeah, that's what you got to go ahead with. One of the option you can choose based on your convenience, based on your choice of option. Since you are also an ABAP on HANA developer, you can always go with this option where we learned about metadata extension with CDS and UI annotations, which we have used to create our smart filter app. Okay, in this case, we are not going with that option. Okay, coming back, I'm just going to create an overview. So let me create an app here. Now right click in my web IDE and choose new, put it from template. And what I will want is I want to choose Fiori Elements and overview page. And I will name it as Abajo OVP. And I say online Fiori trainings.ovp on my sales dashboard. And I say HTTP. Click on next. Use the data source. Give my credentials for my S4HANA system. Load my OData service generated out of CDS view. Click on next. Select the annotation file. Don't choose the CDS annotation. Click on next. Choose the entity type for giving the filter. Now, how does an overview page look like? This is how an overview page looks like, guys. You can see in this, again, we have sections. The topmost section of the overview page is called Global Filter. Okay. What it is called? Anyone? It's called Global Filter. It is called Global Filter, this topmost section. And now in the bottom, we have something called Content Area. This is called Content Area. This content area includes cards. If you see, there are these types of cards. A variety of cards you can choose. You can choose stack card, analytical card. You can see this is an analytical card. You can choose a table card. You can choose a list card, a stack card. Variety of cards you can choose from. These are called cards. So we will be adding here two cards. One will be the most recent sales orders card, which will be more like a table, like this kind of card, a table like card, which you see this one. This one I want to add for most recent sales orders. And then I want to also add a dashboard card like this. Maybe I will use a bar chart rather than a donut. This is a donut chart. I'm going to use a bar chart. So two cards I want to add. In the global filter, I want to add company name as a global filter. So only one filter as company name. When I change the company name and click on go button, these charts will change automatically. So that's what we want. So let's go ahead and achieve this. So we are choosing an entity type. There's only one entity type here for global filter. This is the entity type for one CDS view which you have. Okay. So enable live filter, which means the moment you change, you don't have to click on go button. It will automatically change your chart automatically. Maybe I check this up, click on next, finish. Now guys, before you start adding the cards, you must add annotation file once again. Let me run this app. It won't show you anything right now because there is no card inside. Okay. There's no card, nothing inside. So it's not going to show you anything at this point of time. So I'm going to run this up. Dashboard. Just open another tab. So it's just trying to load up. And now in the meantime, I'll start preparing for creating annotation. So I can say new folder. And let's create an annotation file. Let's name it as annotation, enough. And make sure that it is being linked also. So go to manifest. And you can see this annotation file is linked here. I don't want CDS annotation, so I'm removing this line. You can keep it also, no problem. You can keep it, no problem. And now I will go to annotation editor to start editing my annotation. In the meantime, the app is trying to load here. You see, it doesn't load anything. It's empty because we don't have any annotation to guide what to do. This Fiori element don't understand or don't know what to do. There is no card here. So we're going to add two cards here. We're going to also add a global filter on the top called company name and currency code. I want two things. Yeah. Or I want order status and company name. Yeah. Order status and company name. I want these two things. Let's come back and start adding annotation. First, for global filter, as usual, we're going to use selection field annotation. And this selection field now I'm going to add two items. The first item is going to be my company code, company name, and second item is going to be order status. Two things I've added. I can save this annotation and show you now. By now, global filters will appear, guys. Come back here, refresh, you will see two global filters. One will be the company name and another will be the order status. So two global filters should come up as part of your app now. Voila. Can you see, guys? Two filters are coming, company name and order status. Next, we want to add a card. So for that, first we have to annotate. So what we want is a table card. So let's come back. Let's come back here. And now we're going to add an annotation for line item to add a table. Let's add line item. Click on plus. I'm just going to add a data field. I want to add 3 columns. So I'm going to add 3 data fields as part of my line item. Just do that. And the first one is the company name I want. Second one is I want gross amount. And third one I want the currency. That's it. You can, of course, add labels if you wish to for the columns. So let's do that. I can choose hard-coded string also. Another label for second column. And then add a currency. So these labels will appear. Now guys, the beauty here is you can use same CDS view to create multiple cards, right? So you want to use same CDS view to create multiple cards. So I want to use same CDS view to create multiple cards. As a result of that, that's the reason what I'll do is I will go ahead and put something called line item annotation identifier here, qualifier here. Just give some name. You can give any name. I will give Abajo. Okay. This is going to help you guys because sometimes you want multiple table cards. How will system recognize how many different table cards you want? So you have to give a qualifier to each of the card, yeah, to create each of the annotations so that corresponding annotation can create a card accordingly. My first one I've given Abajo. I can click on now save. It gets saved. Let's come back and add a card. So right click on the app, new. I want to add a card. And now, wow, you can choose here variety of available cards. Select the table card because I want a table card. And I can say next. And now I can also just choose the data source, click on next. And now guys, here we choose the entity set. The moment you choose entity set, you can see at below, system has automatically picked up annotation part with hashtag Abajo. Your identifier it has already picked up. Let's give a title to the card. I can say recent orders, sales order items. Click on next, finish. Voila, that's it guys. We are done. Where is this card added? You can always see that in the manifest JSON file. Just scroll down. You can see a card has been added over here. Just in case, if you don't want the card, you can always come to manifest JSON and delete the corresponding card from here directly. Let's come back and look at my app once again. Refresh and just watch out guys what happens. It's going to show you a table card with all the line item data and the top records probably. Voila, can you see guys how beautiful it looks? A table card on your screen. I can now change the company name with global filter and enter. And voila, you see it should filter up, but it's not. Something is wrong. Maybe spelling is incorrect. I just put SAP. And now you see it has got 5 out of 554 SAP orders. I don't have any other company name to display right now. So let me just I want to. There you go. That's correct one. You see, it is filtered out in my card automatically all the recent orders for Aventel. I want to see the order status based on order status. I want to see the paid ones. Order status paid. And you would see now the paid orders. Oh, I don't have. It's not showing up. Something is wrong. Okay, that's about your card. And live filter is working. You don't have a go button explicitly to click. You just press enter and it's doing live filtering. I want another card, which is a bar card displaying all the sales per companies. Yeah, I want sales per companies. How can we do that? Very easy. Come back to Web IDE, back to Annotation Editor, And this time we're going to add another annotation called chart annotation for chart card. Click on plus, choose chart here, say OK. And now you can choose chart type. I want chart type to be a bar chart. Yeah. Measures. And you guys remember sometime back I told you whenever you want to create analytics or charts, you have to always go with measures and dimensions. So measures is what makes your y-axis, and dimension is what makes your x-axis. So let's add a measure. It's always a numeric column typically. So add a measure item 1, and this is going to be of course my gross amount. And then I can say measure attributes. You can add also as much as 3 measures. Suppose I want to show tax amount, net amount, and gross amount. 3 measures on same card. I can do that, and that's why we can use multiple measures as well. So now I want to just right now display the gross amount, and I just choose measure attribute types, role, and measure. So I will say on my axis 1, I want to say gross amount. That's my measure 1. So you can add maximum 3 measures for per analytical card. That's my measure. Let's add a dimension. Add item for dimension. And now choose company name as my dimension. Based on company name, it should display the data. Dimension attributes. Of course, you can also have multiple dimension attributes. And I will go with dimension as my company name and choose it as a category, not as a series. So what is series used for? Series is used for, let's say you have a band of values. Like I want to show how many people bought my courses based on age group. So between 14 to 18 years, between 18 to 20 years, 20 to 25, 25 to 40, in this age group, how many people bought my course? I want to do based on that. So that's actually a series type of aggregation. So now I choose category. If you don't know anything about this, blindly choose category as a dimension role and choose here company name, and we are done, guys. Let's annotate this with also a qualifier, the chart annotation, and I will name it as Oberon. Done. Let's click on save. We are done. And now what we're going to do is we're going to add a card. So right click, say new card, this time an analytical card, and say next. And now choose your entity set, give a title, and I say my sales dashboard, sales per customer, and voila, you can see, guys, it has automatically picked up your chart annotation Oberoi over here. Yeah, that's your qualifier. It has already picked up. So if you have multiple multiple chart cards to be added, you can have such multiple annotations in your local annotation file with their own qualifiers. That's all I want. I don't want selection presentation variant at this point and don't have it. I'll show you what is the purpose of this. We'll see it later. Click on next and I click on finish. Let's see what happens now. Magic happens on the UI. Zero coding, guys. Zero coding. Now come back, refresh the page and watch out what happens. System is going to show you the sales data aggregated per customer. That's what system is going to do. Voila. Can you see a sales dashboard on your screen per customer? It's showing you the sales data. Wow, what an amazing stuff, guys. Thanks to SAP OBP. This is the kind of applications you can really build with SAP S4HANA with CDS views. Also, if you're on NetWeaver 7.5, doesn't matter whether you're an S4 or not, you can actually build this application with Fiori UX. That's the power of CDS and annotation-based Fiori application. A killer combination. You will become an end-to-end stack developer. That's why I recommend, if you have no clue what am I talking, if you guys are very confused, what is happening around you, what people are doing, what you supposed to do, where to get started, I would recommend a clear direction to all of you. You must go and start blindly with this one. Even you are a web developer, doesn't matter. This is the first course you should begin with. Move to then ABAP on HANA, and finally to with my SAP Fury Advanced Security and Fury Advanced Training. These three courses you must complete. Your next 10 years of career is set. The next 10 years of your career is set because every 10-year technology changes. Next 10 years, this technology is going to last. You're going to become a full stack developer. This is what my recommendation learning path for all of you. Blindly get started with this. Don't think मैं तो ABAPer हूँ, मुझे तो आता नहीं है. Don't worry. For ABAPer, these courses are designed. If you just know core ABAP, more than enough for me. That's it. I don't need anything else. Even for the first course, ABAP itself is not required. Yeah. No ABAP knowledge required for first course. Yes, here little bit of ABAP knowledge required, about 30-40%. Again, for CDS and MDP, you don't need an ABAP concept here. And then finally, this one, which is more advanced. Okay, still you have appetite to learn, you can go with native HANA development with XS Advanced and XS architecture with microservices and HANA deployment infrastructure. Complete native HANA application using Node.js and XSJS with XS OData and analytical views. Okay, coming back. Now, what I want to sort. I want to sort highest sales on the first. So you see, it's showing a kind of pattern where you see high sales, low sales, high sales, low sales. I want to sort the data. I want to fetch and display this chart where it should first stack my high sales customer beginning. It should basically sort in descending order. Yeah, that's what I want in my chart. So for that reason, we go with something called presentation variant. If you come down, you can see right now there's a card created. I delete this card. Right now, I delete this card, guys. Now I'm going to create it once again. And I'll go back to annotation. And this time I'm going to use another annotation called presentation variant. So let's do that. Click on plus and now see presentation variant. And I just give some name. I will also give the name as chart order. And I just choose sort by, sort order type. And now here I choose sort order type based on property gross amount. I want to sort the sales orders. And then I want to do descending equals to true. And you can also group by, total by, a lot of things you can do, visualizations, different coloring, everything you can achieve, whatever you wish to. There's a lot you can do. Click on save and let's come back and create the card again. Right click, choose new card, analytical card, next, and say next once again. And I'm going to choose entity set and just give some title, sales overview, sales by company. And now you can see, guys, presentation variant is automatically picked up as chart order. And on top, it is picked up Oberoi as my chart annotation. Click on next and finish. We are done. Congratulations. Now this time you see when you look at the data, it will be sorted. So let's come back to manifest. Scroll down, you see the card has been added also. And this time a presentation annotation path is also added here. Wow, superb. Let's come back and run this application once again. Last time we were seeing the card with the any order, and now it should show the sales order with descending amount. Okay, sales order amount will be in descending order. Voila, you see it's now showing you the sales order here. That the sales order which is highest, you see this Brazil technology which has given you the highest revenue. Now it's also very clumsy. You see, it's bringing all the customers. I don't want that. I want only top 5 customers, or top 3 or top 4 customers. You can also control that. Come back and go to annotation. And now you see some annotation must be there in presentation variant again. Just come back, presentation variant plus, and we should see something max items. Yes, I think that should be the one. Let me give it a try. I want only 4. You can save. Just come back, refresh the page, and watch out what happens. System is going to show you only the top 4 entries with the top 4 selling buying customers for your company. Oops, it's not working. Maybe cache issue. Let's press F12, right click and refresh cache and hard reload once again. Did I forgot to save? Let me go back and check. No, I saved it. Oops, there's a problem. You see here, it didn't save properly. Click on 4 and press enter and then save it. Sometimes it doesn't save here. Just click on the save button here on the top. It will save properly. Come back and refresh once again. Watch out what happens now. It will organize the top selling or top buying customer for your company in the first, and it's only going to show you the top 4 customer rather than it just feeding it with lots of data which user can't understand. So let's see finally what exactly happens here. It's loading my OVP. Of course, the filter will also work accordingly based on your needs. So you can add variety of charts, donut chart, line chart, stack column chart, heat maps, variety of charts available, and voila! Now you see, guys, only top 4 selling customers with their revenues are being displayed in the chart. So that's the power of annotation file. Again, I repeat, all of this can be controlled with CDS annotation. So in the CDS view, you got to come here, and with CDS, you got to probably choose your annotations here in the CDS view at the rate UI annotations. And then you can see all the line item annotation, all the selection annotation, everything you can control with CDS. This is a better option covered in my Abajo HANA course. Please subscribe to Abajo HANA course to understand CDS-based annotation and metadata extensions. Again, you can choose the option which you wish to choose. It's your choice, your liking, disliking, based on what you are comfortable. My duty is to teach you everything and also give you the best practice about what we wish to. Okay. Together with that, suppose I want to also add another measure. Yeah. So I want to also add together with the gross amount a net amount. So I'll just do that. It's very easy because this was one question you guys asked me just now. I'm just going to come back here and in my chart annotation, I'm going to add another measure. And this time it's going to be net amount. Do we have net amount? No, we don't have net amount here. Sorry, we don't have net amount. Otherwise, I would have added that, and that would also come as part of your data, guys. So I don't have that at this point, so I can't demonstrate. Maybe I just enhance my CDS. Don't worry, we can do that. So you can come here cross amount, and I will also use net amount. Just enhance this too. Don't worry. Let me just do that. Just activate this. Done. Let's come back on the top, and here we have cross amount. So we also get okay, we got net amount now. Let's come back and I'm going to create another card altogether. I don't want to disrupt anything here. So let's create another chart and choose a different qualifier. And I say gross net. Yeah, that's the name I'm giving. And chart type is going to be this time a bar chart. Maybe I want a stack chart, bar stack. And I have 2 items. One will be the gross amount and one will be the net amount. Did we got the net amount here now? Oh, I don't see that. I got to refresh maybe my app. I got to refresh my app. Let's save this till this much and just refresh. There has to be an option. Actually, in WebID full stack, we have an option to refresh metadata. Here we don't have that. We have an option in WebID full stack to refresh metadata. We don't have that here. Just got to refresh this app. So we're going to add the net amount as another axis. So on y-axis, there will be 2 charts, two bars actually. So this time I'm using a stack one. So it's going to see single bar with the net amount and the gross amount on the same bar. Yeah, that's what is exactly going to happen over there. So just come back, annotations, and just change this annotation. We have an error. Of course, we have to give another measure. And now you have the net amount in here, measure attributes. Just adding both the measure attributes with their role and measure. Gross amount and net amount. This is axis 1 and this is going to be axis 2. And let's add the dimension as company itself. Doing little faster. Just for time again, company name with the category. Done. Let's save this up and add a card. This time we have named it some different identifier. It's gross net. So the card will show you that option actually. New card. And again an analytical card. And now I'm gonna just choose here entity set once again. Title. This is a stack card net versus gross sales. And now here you see annotation path is picked up as chart order. Yeah, that's what is just picked and say next, finish. We are done, guys. Watch out now on the screen. It will get you in another card with the stack card, net amount and gross amount, two different axes on the same level. So maximum 3 measures you can add together on a card. And now it's going to load that up. It's not displaying anything. Something is wrong. I think it's too much of data. System is taking some time. In the meantime, let me read the questions here. Don't we have to reload the metadata from that's what we have done. We don't have to load from backend actually. Just have to refresh the web IDE. Okay. Selection annotation, it means selecting a particular record. Is it optional to use? Yeah, selection variant is actually for the selection field variant. So if you want to default a value with company code SAP, yeah, here you want to default some value, you can use selection presentation variant. It's optional. Yeah, it's optional. Just like we use presentation variant to give a presentation variant to our chart card. Similarly, you can use for the filters, the selection presentation variant, how you want it to be displayed. Okay, for that purpose you can use. If you want to default, let's say requirement is to default company code to SAP. How do you do that? That's what something you can do. It's taking a lot of time because now it has to fetch the net amount also. It's taking huge time because there's so much of data system has to do aggregation upon. So let's wait for it to load. I'll pause the recording. So I hope you guys have got some idea about how to create applications, which are smart filter list report application and smart OBP application. There are two more other types of applications which works pretty well. In fact, there are three more. So one is the KPI tile with S4HANA embedded analytics, which is what we have seen in the last class. If you have attended my last session, I have covered there. There is also another called LP framework, application path framework, PF. This is also another way, which is part of S4HANA embedded analytics. And there is this third one called analytical list page, ALPM. It also depends on annotation. Stay tuned for my YouTube channel. Please subscribe this channel to get more amazing videos like this. If you think this video is helping you, please share this with your colleagues and friends. Please do give me likes. It helps me to get more and more videos like this for you on the YouTube channel. Thank you so much. This is Anubhav signing out. Have a nice day and goodbye.